Are you prepared for bank runs? Is all your money sitting in cash in the bank? Do you rely on your life savings as a safety net? Are you even prepared with a savings account for a rainy day? We've had so many rainy days here lately, I don't know who could even possibly have anything left in savings to fall back on. Well, maybe if you received a stimulus check, you're doing all right, since Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell thinks that American folks who aren't working are just sitting at home living it up because they're so flush with cash from stimmy checks. They don't need to go to work. Sheesh. But there are some that I know are positioned well because they have been preparing for this SHTF all along. They did what was hard when it was easy and used simple and easy ways to earn extra income on the side, which have turned into easy passive income revenue streams for them and their families that they are extremely thankful for to have today. Oh, and they didn't put all their income and earnings in the bank either. Cash will always be king. I don't care what anyone else says or if they disagree. Cash is king. I usually hear folks object to that when they don't have cash for the most part. But even worse than not increasing your income potential and building up several side hustles and passive income generating businesses on the side is what is happening to the poor people in China. Chinese authorities violently dispersed a peaceful protest by hundreds of depositors who sought and demanded their life savings back from banks that have run into a major cash crisis. As the Chinese economy slows down further, the fiscal shortage worsens and the debt repayments become more widespread among Chinese companies, especially in the real estate sector. Bank runs could become more often and on much larger scales. Now, please pay attention because this information I'm sharing with you isn't only isolated to China. If you have a bank account, if you have any savings, regardless of where you live, but more than likely you're watching and you're a U.S. account holder, this is going to pertain to you. Since the spring, there have been at least 4 Chinese banks in the Henan province that have frozen millions of dollars, U.S. dollars, worth of deposits. In total, the China banking scandal may involve over $6 billion U.S. This comes at the worst possible time as lockdowns from the most recent mutant variant of the pandemic is crushing their economy and livelihoods. More than 1,000 protesters made their way to the People's Bank of China to beg and plead for their money back. Many chanting and shouting, "Return my savings," and waving Chinese flags as a display of patriotism. Now, that's kind of odd there, but we'll touch on that later. Meanwhile, hundreds of police and security assembled and surrounded the protesters. All of a sudden, chaos erupted as the police and security charged the protesters like the corrupt government gangsters they are, dragging protesters downstairs and beating those who resisted, including women and the elderly. One woman protester and bank depositor asked, "Why would our government beat us up? Why are we the only ordinary people asking for our deposits back? What did we do wrong?" One of the protesters lost his job in the medical cosmetology industry. I was going to say cosmetics, but one of the protesters lost his job in the medical cosmetology industry earlier this year as a result of struggling business during the pandemic and lockdowns. He was unable to withdraw any of his life savings of over $75,000 US or 500,000 yuan from his bank account in Henan. He said, "Being unemployed, all I can live on is my past savings, but I can't even do that now. How am I supposed to support my family?" A struggling machine factory owner is attempting to avoid bankruptcy after losing his bank deposits totaling 597,000 USD. That's over 4 million yuan. Because his Henan bank won't give him his money, he can't continue to pay his more than 40 employees. Now, we talked about this on previous videos of possible business bankruptcies and their inability to pay employees, which will ultimately affect you. Please pay attention. He is also recovering from bruises and a swollen lower back after being repeatedly stomped by security guards at the protest. He said, "The incident completely overturned my perception of the government. I've lived all my life placing so much faith in the government. After today, I will never trust it again. Wise man. Months have gone by since the Chinese bank accounts have been frozen after account holders noticed something very odd and strange when they attempted to access their funds online. When they tried to access their account online, a statement would pop up on the homepage informing them that the website was under maintenance and services would be unavailable for a while. It has been over 2 months, and those services have not been restored. As many as 400,000 banking customers across China were unable to access their savings over the last few months. Can you imagine not having access to your funds for months? Would you be able to survive? Now, in total, the China banking scandal may involve over $6 billion US. Public security authorities say they will concentrate on charging those responsible and recovering depositors' lost money. Obvious corrupt and illegal business banking activities and some accounts are insured, but many are in fear and don't have the luxury of waiting for an investigation and resolution. They have bills to pay and families to feed now. And like I said, granted, this is in China. This is occurring in China, but you need to pay attention because this could spread quickly and rapidly to U.S. bank accounts. And, if we were to see, excuse me, hotel coffee. It's actually pretty good. I don't know which one this is, but not bad. If we were to see many more account holders here in the U.S. Going to banks and trying to access their cash, ultimately the banks would pull back. Now, they may not be involved in as much corrupt activity as these particular banks are in China, but if you wait too long, you're going to find yourself in a situation where they won't have the money and or they won't give it to you. So, just a heads up so you guys are aware, paying attention. Prepping is more than just canning and stockpiling food. You may want to focus on the cash. You may want to focus on your money. And then, at the same time, if you don't have any in savings to go get, then, we need to have a whole nother discussion on how to prepare. I know that there's a lot of folks out there that are in the comments. I see them, and they truly believe that our economy and our monetary system is collapsing and failing. No doubt about it. But in the interim, you still need money. You still need cash. You still need ways of buying goods and services because crypto and decentralized currencies they're not the answer, not yet. So if you are in a position where you don't have even know what the word savings means, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you're barely getting by now, then you have bigger problems ahead of you when SHTF happens as it relates to being able to afford your rent, being able to afford food, being able to afford gas. If you're a business owner, being able to afford to pay your employees to maintain operations for even the possibility of continued revenue and possible profits, which profit margins are shrinking. Business is becoming much harder, and the writing's on the wall. And the government, although this story was about, it's not even really a story. I mean, it's really happened last week in China. Although the story is from China, the government is not the answer. I mean, they may try to help, at least may try to tell you that they're going to help, but at the end of the day, their help is going to be, it's not going to be enough. It's going to be too little, too late. And if you are concerned about your survival and well-being and the ability to continue and progress, then you're probably going to want to take matters into your own hand. And if you don't know how to do it, hit me up. Links in the description. Sign up for the newsletter. Send me an email if you want. We can talk about it. And we can start getting you and your family positioned well to have the ability to prepare, besides financially, have the ability to prepare for stockpiling food, have the ability to prepare for alternative power sources. Lake Mead is, beyond dangerous drought levels. And it's ultimately going to affect the ability for many residents to have power as a result of lack of water, lack of hydroelectric energy, and you're going to need to find alternative means of power and or backup power supply because you're at great risk. But if you can't even afford your power bill as it is, then I don't know how you're going to afford a backup solution. So that doesn't have to be the case. You don't have to be poor. You don't have to be broke. You don't have to be in danger of demise and destruction and peril. You don't have to be that way. And if you want to fix it, if you want to work on it, holler at me. If you don't, you can wait on the government. Maybe they'll help you out.